Let's put a handle on this Japanese hammer. Alright everybody, as it's probably quite apparent from those who follow along on the channel, I have grown extremely accustomed and fond of Japanese tools. Recently I purchased this hammerhead, which is for a Genno that's very similar to this. It's a Japanese hammer that is designed primarily for hammering chisels and sometimes doing some joinery work like higurashi, where you are peening down a tenon. So this actually has one flat face as well as a round face. And since Chinese New Year's coming up in a couple days, and I was born in 1986, which is the year of the tiger, I decided to purchase this very special hammerhead. This has obviously the tiger engraving. It's 375 grams, it's a little bit weighty, but this is an absolutely beautiful piece, and therefore it's going to need a handle. Also worth noting that this video is a little bit of an ode to Third Coast Craftsman, another Chris here on YouTube. I did watch his video on making a hammer handle for this a number of times, and you'll see a lot of similarities in as far as style and hopefully the end product. I really hope that I can make a video that is doing his video a little bit of justice and also puts my own spin on it. For stock for the hammer handle, I'm going to be using Jatoba. This piece of Jatoba was actually given to me by John Perilla from the Perilla Works channel. This was originally going to potentially be the first plain body that I made, my first kana, but after doing a little bit of research, I realized that Jatoba and these more oily hardwoods are not really akin to kana plain bodies, the die, if you will. So I'm going to just hack off a piece of this and start getting to work here. Now I'm going to use my existing hammer. This is a pretty common Genno. It's pretty inexpensive. You can get this at Hita Tool or really any Japanese tool supplier. I just kind of want a rough mark. And this marking gauge that I'm about to use, it's actually my first time using it. I just, I guess, restored this. This is from World War II, actually, from a GI that came back from Japan and had a bunch of Japanese planes. This was just a little scratch marking gauge that he made, and it's kind of cool. It's got a wooden screw, pretty neat. I can't believe this is actually working, and quite well, too. Layout is probably one of the most important steps in all projects, and here I want to have the hammerhead centered on the handle. So finding center and using the center line to mark the dimensions off of the mortise in the hammerhead is key. You want a pretty close fit since we'll be driving a wedge into the handle and the inside of the head is not tapered, so making sure to be down to the millimeter will make your life a ton easier here on the back end. I do want to make this handle my own, but at the same time I don't need to reinvent the wheel, so I'll use my other hammer as a loose template to work from. This video is brought to you by the Home Depot Prospective and Diablo tools. You may recall on my Monster Mallet video that I was struggling with cutting that thick ash using my jigsaw. Well, I decided to try out these bimetal, bidirectional toothed jigsaw blades. The bidirectional teeth allow for an ultra-fine top and bottom finish, and the blade design is optimized for precise and accurate cuts. Also, the T-shank design fits all combo and most U-shank jigsaws as well. With the rough shape done, I cut off the excess using my Ryoba. This is a new to me draw knife, and let's just say it is not sharp. So after struggling for a bit trying to get the shape started, I opted to go to the fret saw to cut the transition from the tenon into the hammer head to the handle itself. And then the curvature is roughed down with a half-round rasp. And a spoke shave whittles it down to more of the desired shape. I even went as far as using my spoon carving knife to work on the transitional areas where there is a lot of curvature. I've probably only carved 1 or 2 spoons in my life, and they are not what anyone would consider good, to be quite frank. I have to give a lot of credit to folks who carve by hand, because when working with texture and curvature, there is a ton of grain directional issues that can really give you fits. A block plane knocks down the handle itself to more of its finished size and shape. I went with a hexagonal grip, which is a bit more of a traditional look. The card scraper definitely got put through its paces on this project and was vital to cleaning up all the transitions and the curves. Now my wedge is going to be made of brass. This is not going to be a traditional wedge, again because the hammerhead itself's mortise is not angled. So I'm using flat stock with the end filed to a point. The pressure will compress the wood fibers solidly into the hammerhead, which will help give it an extremely solid fit. And the bit and brace is to drill a relief hole into the handle's tenon, and then I'll use the Ryoba to cut the slot for the brass wedge. It's important to use a very thin curved blade here because you want the brass to push the tenon outward into the mortise to ensure for an extremely snug fit. Then the excess through tenon is shaped and refined with a file. All right, with everything assembled, I'm gonna add a little bit of wood wax to the handle to really try to get this pop. This is from Real Milk Paint Company. It is a blend of walnut oil and carnauba wax. And just take a look at this once I start getting her on. I mean, come on. Look at that Jatoba. I think this is also known as Brazilian cherry as well. But the depth that this brings out, it's all natural, food safe. It's really a phenomenal product, and it dries really quickly. So within just a couple of days, it can be handled. Gosh, unbelievable. Now that we're finished with the build, I wanted to just take a moment to kind of compare and contrast my two hammers here. So this is obviously the original sort of cheapy Japanese big box store hammer. The handle on this is far more traditional than this handle. So Most Japanese tools are going to be handled with either Japanese white oak, Japanese red oak. Sometimes you'll see some boxwood. It's certainly not going to be Jatoba or any sort of South American exotic by any means. However, just the contrast of the Jatoba with the handle, the beauty of it, I thought it was really, really cool and really fitting, and just really gives this a lot more spirit. The wedging system's pretty similar. I mean, I used brass. They just use, it looks like a piece of steel that's just smashed on in there. So let's give it a couple knocks and see if it holds on. Man, this stuff does not want to split off. Yep, there she is, still hanging on. All right, everybody, that's it for me on this one. Thanks for watching. I'm absolutely just in complete love with this hammer. Happy Chinese New Year to everybody. Year of the Tiger. Best of luck to everyone. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time here at Cowdog Craftworks.